Share via email. Report story. By Fair Ochako. Where young love blooms, it can also burn. Warning. A plot and heavy angst, MCD. Equals 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 dot. Ochako grew up hearing the stories of a woman so beautiful that she stole the hearts of every man in her village. The woman was from a village not too far away from her own. She appeared one day suddenly and left just so once she was gone, every man's pocket was empty and the woman's village was prospering. With no money, no other village wanted to trade with them. The prosperity of their very own village was gone from one day to another. Even with no money, her village declared war on their neighboring village. They lost, no surprise. There was no food, no clean water, no supplies, and no medicine. Their soldiers died and the village was almost wiped clean of men. So, their chief rose the white flag and both villages remained on bad terms since. That was 100 years ago. Not much has changed regarding the relationship between the two villages and the lack of wealth in Ochako's village. Anyone with half a brain could tell that the woman never existed. She was made up by the village chief as an excuse. In reality, the chief used all their money on alcohol, drugs, food, and women. He wasted it all, and the village ended up dirt poor. Ochako sighs to herself. She's helping her mother wash their clothes just outside their small hut of a house. The older of the two clicks her tongue. We used the last bit of water. She grumbles, scrubbing Ochako's father's trousers roughly. Ochako, go down to the river, would ya? Yes, ma'am, Ochako replies, hopping up from her spot on a tub turned upside down. She wipes her hands on her apron and then unties it from her waist. She drops it into the washtub filled with suds of her mother's homemade soap. 2 buckets worth, her mother adds. Ochako hums and picks up the 2 metal buckets just behind her. I'll be back before the sun sets, the young girl announces, starting her journey with a jog. She likes going down to the river. It's a nice walk there and so beautiful once she makes it to the forest. So many little animals like rabbits, squirrels, blue jays, and red robins, not to mention those beautiful wildflowers that Ochako likes to pick and bring home for her mother. She swings the 2 buckets by her side, a casual smile gracing her face. Despite all the hardships they face, she's happy. She likes to see the brighter side of things. Izuku sits on the riverside with his feet dipped in the cold, rushing water. He has his notebook in his lap and his big yellow backpack leaning against a tree just a few paces away. He's scribbling down his observations of the nature around him. He isn't sure why his master made him do this, but it's nice. Being away from all the noise of the village and the quietness of Mother Nature's very creations. It's a nice place to think and just breathe. Izuku writes about the fish that occasionally tickle his feet as they rush past. It makes him smile each time. Mindlessly, he reaches beside him and breaks a piece of the banana bread his mother packed him and pops it in his mouth. He hums a little tune to himself, bobbing his head to it. The sound of chirping birds accompanies his song, though they don't sink at all. His curls push to the side of his head with the gentle summer breeze floating around. The sun grazes his skin, likely turning his skin golden slowly. He's been here since early this morning. Based on the sun's current position in the sky, it must be about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. He'll head out in an hour to make it back for supper. Promoted stories. You'll also like. Her prince from the underworld half demon is. 26K459. It's basically the same story as my succubus Momo X Deku story. I know, real original, but hey, now you guys get a Deku from the other side of the tracks. Izuku's Harem Academia 190K 1.8 Qst. Read. Return of Mokuden discontinued 3.5K 45. This story is officially up for adoption. If anyone is interested, message me or comment on the story. Finished. 28.5K 508 tilde. He save all of them, just a smile plastered on his face before disappearing through the wind. The Heroes Return MHAXJJK, ongoing 115K 1.7K in quad, Izuku. Midoriya, after being betrayed and killed, vanishes leaving hurt people behind. After 2 months and a hack, he come back. Changed. How will the class re? I am, sequel of, UR check mark 69.5K 1.8K. This book is the sequel of, UR, so better read that first before going here. Tears of joy. Thank you to that one reader that suggested this title. I can't see you sad face, but thank you. After all, Fluke 11.4K 802. Will edit once I'm free. N. This is a work of fiction, and any similarity with other works is purely coincidental. Excuse grammatical errors and misspellings, Eng. But the sound of metal objects clashing together makes him jump out of his head and whip around in the direction of the sound. His throat catches when he sees a person. Someone that came from the southwest. From that village. What's she doing here? But he can't bring himself to be fully alarmed. She's standing there, jaw dropped, eyes wide. With curiosity. She's wearing a light dress. The skirt of it falls just above her ankles, and the top exposes some of her chest and all of her arms. The dress itself is a bland beige color. Her hair is cut short into a bob, but her fringes are longer. You're from the village of Yue, aren't ya? Is the first thing she shouts. He blinks, closing his notebook, but doesn't answer. She leans forward but doesn't take a step closer to him. You are. What are you doing here? The border of the river is far off from here, she says. Izuku blinks again and looks back in the direction he came from. He wandered too far again, lost in his head. His eyes find her again. I must have wandered too far. I'll be on my way. He steps out of the river, using his hand to balance himself as he gets back up. You don't have to go, she pipes up with a shrug of her shoulders. No one really comes this far from my village. Just me, the girl adds. Well, should he call her a girl? She seems to be about his age. 20. That'd make her a woman, right? I'd rather not take that chance. Pardon me. He bows his head, intending to end the conversation. Izuku has no vendetta with the people of that village, but he doesn't want to get caught talking to one either. Let alone on their territory. But it seems the woman has ideas of her own as she watches him wrap his food in the cloth it was resting on. What's that? Izuku looks at her again. What? That. The thing in your hand, she answers, pointing at it. Izuku looks at it for a moment, then back up. Bread. She blinks. That's not bread. It is. Bread doesn't look like that. Ah, their village is poor. He heard they can only really make the basics of food. Sweets aren't things they get the luxury of trying often. It's not traditional bread. It's made with different ingredients. This one is made with banana. Her eyes sparkle. Banana. I've had a banana before. Back when I was younger, my papa brought me one back from his travels. He also heard their village rarely gets to trade with others anymore. He watches her stare at the snack in his hand. He brushes off the cloth he had halfway covered the bread with and lifts it a bit in her direction. Do you want to try it? He asks cautiously. If possible, her eyes light up even more when they meet his. And, oh, his heart slams against his ribs at the sight of her excited smile. Really? She exclaims. Izuku splutters. Why, yeah, you can have it. She drops her buckets on the ground beside her and tries to remain composed as she approaches him. In his right mind, Izuku should have known to be cautious of her. But he only just noticed her beauty. And suddenly, all caution went to the wind. She stops 2 feet in front of him and he holds it out to her. He watches her wipe her hands on her skirt, but he can't tell if it's because of her nerves or excitement. She reaches for it and gently plucks the half-eaten bread from the cloth in his hand. Izuku lets his hand drop, crumpling the fabric as he watches her break off a piece. Some of the crumbs fall to the lively grass below them. Izuku suddenly realizes he's barefoot. She puts it in her mouth and closes her eyes. He refrains, chuckling at the look of concentration on her face as she tastes the bread. His mother made it just last night, so it should be just right. At least, he likes it cooled down. Her caramel-colored eyes pop open suddenly. Izuku raises his brows in anticipation. The young woman stares right into his eyes, swallowing the treat. That's amazing, she shouts. Izuku finds himself smiling. My mother made it, he says. She bites into another piece, and with her mouth full of food, she says, your mom is a goddess. Izuku's never seen anybody eat anything as fast as she does. There are even crumbs of the bread around the rim of her lips and on her cheek. Her, very blush cheeks. The natural color of her cheeks adds a sort of charm to her. What's your name? She wipes her face with the back of her hand and offers him a closed-lipped smile. Uraraka Ochako. He can't help but think her name suits her. Her surname especially. It's nice to meet you, Uraraka Ochako. My name's Midoriya Izuku. Nice to meet you too, Izuku, she beams. Hey, what were ya doing when I got here? You were so lost in that thing that you didn't even notice me get here. That's why I banged my buckets together, to get her attention. Her accent causes Izuku to grow curious about her. But he decides to think about it later. That thing. Oh, you mean my notebook. I was just writing down some research for my master back home. Research. Master. What's that about? I'm an apprentice of our village chief. I'm currently studying under his previous teacher. Ochako makes a sound of mild clarity. You speak so proper. Must because of our master, E.H. He must be strict. Izuku chuckles. I was about to comment on your accent as well. It's very southern. And, yes, my master is strict. I think it's just because he's old. I speak properly because we've been taught that way in primary school. School. I've always wanted to go to school. Is it fun? In Izuku's case, not at all. He hated every single second of it. Ah, you can say that. Don't sound too sure. May I ask what you're doing out here? I mean, not that you can't be out here. Oh, I was getting water for my mama. We're doing chores back home while my papa works in the fields, Ochako replies. She folds her hands in front of her. You don't seem as stuck up and pig-headed as our village chiefs say her people do. Izuku nods. And you don't seem as arrogant and selfish as our village chiefs say your people do. Ochako takes a step back but keeps her eyes on him. Guess both our villages aren't very honest, she says quietly as if someone could hear her. The sun's about ready to set. You oughta start headin' back home. It's odd. If anything, Izuku would have expected her to shoot more questions at him until nightfall. He would have obliged. But, then again, she did say she has her chores to tend to. Izuku nods. Right. It was nice meeting you, Ochako. Hey, don't be a stranger. I got loads more questions to ask you. I just happen to have no time today. Oh, I have questions, too. Ochako keeps walking backward until she reaches her buckets. You know the great field, don't you? Of course, he does. It's unowned land. A vast beautiful field, it's covered in flowers and tall grass this time of year. I do. 2 days, just after sunrise, is all she says before whirling around, scooping up her buckets, and running back towards her village. He assumes she'll stop further down to get her water. He watches, a bit stunned. She told him to be there. And, yes, he knows he should be wary, but the great field is a place of surrender of sorts. It's a place of peace. And anyway, Ochako doesn't seem like the type to have any ulterior motives against anyone. But then again, he only just met her. Well, he supposes only time will tell. 2 days pass. Izuku wakes up earlier than he usually does, freshens up, and packs some leftover supper and some sweets in their pantry. He stuffs it all in his bright yellow book bag, in front of his books. He forgot to clean it out. But, no matter. It doesn't help nor harm him. And he also has no time to empty his bag. Izuku starts his walk to the field in dark gray trousers and a white button-up tucked in. He usually wears a green vest and brown leather gloves, but he thought those are only needed when he's in class or formal meetings. So, he left those behind. His red leather boots are comfortable on his feet, as they always have been. They're a gift from a friend of his. Said friend's parents own a very well-known shoe shop in the town square and gifted these to him. They're high quality and have lasted years since he got them. As he walks, he watches the sun begin to rise over the horizon. It's a wonderful sight. With the sun's attendance, the critters and birds around start to wake, and the nocturnal wildlife settle for sleep. Life bursts around him. The colors of the flowers seem much more vibrant and the field seems even whiter than before. Izuku enjoys the fresh wind as it brushes against his face. It's helping him wake up a bit. He didn't think it would happen, but not once did his mind stop thinking about Ochako. It's odd. He's met plenty of women in his life, some more attractive than others, but it never kept him up at night. He doesn't know if it was because of the anticipation of today, the curiosity, the sight of her smile, but it didn't stop. He even dreamt of her. Certainly odd. Izuku looks up at the clouds that drift slowly with the wind. They're white and fluffy. He knows they're just puffs of water, but he likes to imagine them being soft as cotton candy during festivals or plush like brand new cotton stuffed pillows. It's then that he realizes he actually has no idea where they would meet. The field is very, very large. He's walking along the same line the river follows, with only a mile gap between them. He hopes they'll just run into each other. He continues walking until the sun has just fully slipped off the horizon line. That's when he spots her walking toward him. Just before the border the river usually would be divided into. She can see her radiant, toothy grin from the moment he spots her. His heart does a flip in his chest, and a new feeling of excitement seeps into his soul. Once they're close enough, he waves. She waves back. He can make out her outfit by then. This time, she's wearing a pale purple dress with a similar cut to the one she wore 2 days ago, a straw sun hat, and dark brown boots. They stop right in front of each other. I completely forgot where to tell you to meet me. I completely forgot to ask. He smiles down at her. She isn't much shorter than he is, only by a head's worth in height difference. She smiles up at him too. She then looks over to the field beside them. I like to sit in the grass and watch the clouds pass, she tells him, then starts walking towards it. Isn't it too tall, though? He hears Ochako chuckle as if he'd said something with the innocence of a child. Yeah, obviously. Call me unladylike if you want, but I just plow on through the grass and then jump all over one spot to flatten it enough to sit on, and even worse. The brunette parts a bit of the grass and starts to walk through it, sparing him a glance over her shoulder. I roll around on it. By the standards of Izuku's village, at least, that's extremely unladylike. Almost enough to get her punished by the higher-ups. She disappears into the grass. After a second, he catches sight of her hand popping up over the grass. Ochako starts gesturing for him to follow. Izuku blinks. Geez, he'd get in so much trouble for this. He pushes open the bit of grass she had already disturbed and follows the path of stepped-on grass. He struggles a bit, getting whacked in the face with grass and almost tripping every few moments. But eventually, he meets her again. He raises a brow at her, watching the young woman aggressively flatten out a circle. She's jumping and landing harshly, with one hand atop her hat to hold it down. It's quite humorous, actually. He smiles at the sight just a bit. Ochako stops and breathes out a puff of air, then looks up at him. See? All done. Then she drops down to sit on the grass, crisscrossing with her skirt falling just above her knees. He quickly looks away as she adjusts it, then she calls his name. Izuku looks at her and she's patting a place in the grass in front of her. Ahi obeys and slips his backpack off his shoulder onto the ground, then sits in front of her. Do you carry that bag with you everywhere? She asks. He nods. It's helpful, especially because my master oftentimes has me traveling long trips. And I don't have to carry all my books by hand. Oh, do you carry a lot of books? Usually, yeah. And they're heavy too. Textbooks and such. Ochako hums. In our village, only the chiefs and priests get to use books. We can't afford more for the people. So, only them and their sons. Would you like to take a look at mine? Izuku asks, already reaching to open his bag. I forgot to take them out of my bag last night. Without looking, he can feel her excitement buzzing off her. It makes him smile subconsciously. He pulls out a thick textbook with a black hardcover and some words printed on them with printed drawings of the sun and stars. Ah, this book is about the stars, he tells her, handing it to her. Ochako gapes at just the cover. Her fingers brush over the indents of the letters. What does it say? She asks. Ochako's never seen a book so close up before. This is her first time even getting to touch one. Illustrated astronomy. He reaches forward and she lifts her hand. He pulls the cover back in 2 pages to get to the actual teachings. Her jaw drops at the illustration of the solar system. About 100 years ago, all the information in this book wasn't discovered. It's all mostly new. This contains information about astronomy using math, physics, chemistry, geology, and other things. It's very advanced. Ochako acknowledges his words with a nod, though she doesn't fully understand the importance of such research. If you're learning to become a chief, why do you need to know about the stars? My master wants me to know everything, no matter how unnecessary. He says knowledge is power. Ochako flips the page. I love looking up at the stars with my papa. We like to trace out shapes. She flips the page again. That sounds wonderful. Nowadays, I can't look up at them without thinking about how they formed. Her eyes snap up. What? You know how they were made? Izuku blinks. Yes. He watches her eyes widen and sparkle the same way they did when he gave her that bread. How? She asks him loudly. He's a bit taken aback, but he sits on his knees and drags himself forward until he's beside her. He pulls the book closer to him, half of it on his lap, then flips a few chunks of pages over. It's still being researched, but in our current understanding, stars are about 4 light years away. We can measure just how far they are based on how much light they produce that we can see from here. Izuku points at a sentence on the page. The sun itself is a star, so we can use that as an example of how stars work and why we can see them. So, he pauses, trying to figure out how to explain it simply enough for her to understand. So, in the center of the sun, there are enough protons collide with each other to form helium, and that generates a lot of energy. A proton is a stable subatomic particle. I'm not sure how to explain that, he tells her sheepishly. Point is, they crash into each other at really high speeds, and boom, energy. Every second, the sun converts millions of tons of those materials into heat and light. He looks over at her, and she seems to be genuinely listening to what he's saying. She also looks very lost. It is quite a complex subject. Izuku offers an apologetic smile. I think I'd have to explain a lot of other things for this to make better sense. I'm just stuck on the proton thing. I'd have to bring my other textbooks to help explain that better, he says. Her lips form a small "oh" and she tilts her head. I always just thought stars just were there. Like clouds. Clouds. Do you know anything about clouds? No, do you? He nods. It's much simpler than stars. Clouds are actually made up of water. Huh. Izuku then begins to explain the water cycle. It's something he learned years ago, so it isn't complex or difficult to grasp as all the tiny details and scientific explanations of stars. It takes some time, but not enough to consider it a long time. By the end of it, she has questions that he answers with ease. And, just like that, Ochako learned how clouds form. She's astonished, of course, but happy that she actually learned something. Izuku likes her smile, and it seems to have widened after finally understanding what he explained. Ochako looks back at the book. Can we look at this a bit more? Of course, he nods. Then, the clench of his stomach reminds him that he hadn't eaten. Ah, I didn't eat this morning. He reaches for his bag again. Did you? Still focusing on the pictures in the book, she answers with a quiet, no. He pulls out the food he'd packed. Do you want some? The book is suddenly forgotten with Ochako closing it and mindlessly pushing it off her lap, eyes trained on the food in his hand. What is it? Is it the bread from the other day? He chuckles and shakes his head. No, it's rice and salmon. Do you like salmon? I love it. I got with my papa to fish for some all the time. He taught me how to do it with my bare hands, Ochako informs Izuku, showing him her hands. He notices her fingertips are pinker than any other person's. He wonders if she's cold, but what's that stuff on it? Spices my father brought from abroad. The young man uses his chopsticks to cut the soft fish in half, then turns his bowl to her. Before he can offer the chopsticks up, she picks up a half with her index finger and thumb and takes a bite out of it. He's mildly stunned but doesn't comment on it. Just like yesterday, she closes her eyes as she chews it, then they blast open, staring ahead. Izuku smiles. It's good, isn't it? It's freaking amazing. A gentle laugh leaves Izuku before he can stop it. Then you'll love the cake I brought, too. Cake, she screeches. In Ochako's mind, only the rich get to eat a delicacy such as cake. Cake. Yes, cake. Even faster than yesterday, she finishes the salmon and leans forward. I've never had cake before. You will today, he takes it out. It's wrapped in the same faded red cloth the bread was. You can have the whole thing. The size of it is a bit bigger than the whole banana bread he'd had. It's much more than what she ate. Ochako takes it without a second thought and opens it. Oh, my gods, it smells amazing. Ochako feels like she died and went to heaven. Izuku watches her bring it close to her nose to get a better whiff as he starts to eat his breakfast. His smile grows soft when she takes a bite and hums approvingly instantly. He eats a bit of his rice. Wow, she breathes out, it tastes like strawberries. Is that why it's pink? He nods. Gods, I love strawberries. The color of the cake matches the color of her cheeks, he notices. Cute. His eyes scan her face, taking in every expression she makes as she eats. Ochako even starts to wiggle her torso as she does, like a sort of dance. He can't help but lock away the joy on her in his mind and heart. It's so innocent and she looks pretty that way. He feels his cheeks warm. Suddenly, Izuku has the urge to see it again. He wants to keep seeing it so, without thinking, he asks, "Would you like me to bring another textbook next time? And more sweets. Bribery to get to see her again." Izuku's just a young man, sue him. Just as he expected, her expression brightens tenfold. From then on, they'd meet every 2 days, usually in the early hours of the day, rarely at night. They form a sort of schedule on what books Izuku would bring. With those books, he teaches Ochako just about everything he knows. From the importance of the order of strokes in writing, to how stars work. He finally got to a point where he can properly explain exactly what a star is, and she seems so happy that she can understand him now. Some days, she feels a bit insecure about her lack of knowledge, but Izuku always reminds her that she's learning now and she gets smarter every time they meet. Though, Izuku won't lie and say Ochako's easy to teach. No, he learns that she isn't exactly a classroom type of person. Instead, he learns that she's better at other things. As their weeks turn into months together, he learns that she's great at hunting, fishing, identifying edible and non-edible plants, and above all, she's a great fighter. Ochako says that her father and their military general teach her martial arts on weekends. Izuku himself is a fighter too, training with his childhood friend who is a high-ranking military officer. Izuku challenges Ochako. In seconds, he's on the floor with her knee digging into his back and her hands pushing his arm up to his back. They like to explore the forest, play in the river, and bring each other small gifts. Ochako's is always handmade, they're all but confined to the flower field. And yet, more often than not, Izuku finds them on a small patch of grass, surrounded by colorful flowers. Sometimes they remain silent while he studies and she makes flower crowns for the both of them. Other times they lay on their stomachs, noses inches from his textbooks, Ochako asking him all sorts of questions. On lazy days, they simply nap together. There are days when he reads her passages from his favorite books, then asks her to reread them. He writes and she copies. She teaches him martial arts moves, too. They share snacks, laughs, even eventually their deepest secrets, and tears. In no time, Izuku and Ochako grow comfortable with each other. He sees her as his best friend. He trusts her most out of every person in the world. And Ochako feels the same way, he knows because he always tells her. One day, as they write together, anything that comes to mind, they scribble on his notebook page. They're on their stomachs, arms pressed together. Izuku, look, she says, pointing to something she wrote on his side of the page. He was doodling a picture of his friend from the village mindlessly so he hadn't noticed. He smiles as he reads it, and looks at her. She turns, resting her chin on his shoulder. A cool breeze of air breathes around them. The pages flip thanks to the wind in contained chaos, no longer being held down. Pages and pages of scribbles, neat and sloppy alike, pass on by, sharing the memories the two have shared together. This field knows nothing but peace. Hundreds of beautiful flowers grow each year, rest for a less than bitter winter, and blossom again. Yet, in its hundreds of years of doing this, nothing compares to this. Something new blossoms in the field. Something wonderful and strange. Something genuine and almost too rare. Izuku and Ochako share that in their kiss, in their embrace. Under a sun so warm it feels like a blanket on their skin, the innocence of their youth is given to each other, finally sharing everything. Flowers don't speak so they can't tell. However, they do hear and see. A red tulip dances in joy with the waltz of the wind, remembering the words, "I love you," scribbled on the page. Izuku jogs down the stairs of his home. The morning sun is bright. He can smell the breakfast his mother is making. He's humming a little tune to himself. He's wearing his green vest today, and his gloves are in his back pocket. He smiles at his mother as he enters the kitchen and she smiles back. Inko's noticed her son has become livelier these days, or months, rather. He's happier. He used to be so gloomy and he kept to himself. She didn't blame him, his childhood was rough. Constantly being bullied by children his age for being sickly, his father insulting him here at home. It wasn't easy, but he held his head up and fought on. She's proud of the man he's becoming. He's smart, strong, and handsome. This is what leads her to her only conclusion of it all. Is it a girl? Izuku stops walking to the table where the fruit bowl sits. He tilts his head in confusion. Huh, I asked if it's a girl, the reason you've been so happy recently. Inko winks teasingly at him. But she can see the hesitance. The 2 moments that pass as he thinks. Studies with Professor Yagi are going well and I'm excited to learn. He's teaching me all sorts of things I never imagined I would ever learn, Izuku answers with a nod and his lips thin. He turns. Inko watches her son. He's lean, unlike his father that's definitely bulkier. He worked in the labor fields for a while before getting noticed by their commanding chief. Soon thereafter, he was offered to be Yagi Toshinori's understudy. The woman doesn't believe him. She nursed and raised him. The short, chubby woman wipes her hands on her apron and approaches him. Inko places a hand on his shoulder and he looks down at her. With an encouraging smile, she says, "You can trust me, Izuku. I'm your mother. I promise, whatever you tell me will be between us." Ochako goes to their usual spot and sits in the field to wait for Izuku to arrive. It's not uncommon for one or the other to get there later. They try to avoid that, but it was inevitable. She lays back in the grass, folding her hands over her stomach, and watches the blue sky. In the corners of her eyes, she can see the yellows and the whites of the flowers swaying with the breeze. She's a little extra excited to see her lover today. The brunette is wearing a new dress today. It's a soft yellow color with white and green flowers printed on it. Her mother was finally able to afford some new fabric and made Ochako a few new pieces of clothing. It's the same cut as her usual dresses, except it has puff sleeves. It's so beautiful. She sighs quietly, awaiting her beloved. She has a surprise for him, a letter she wrote to him that she had written all by herself under the blanket of her uncomfortable bed. Ochako isn't sure how much time passes before she falls asleep. Once she wakes, the sky is a darker shade of blue than before. She furrows her brows and sits up. He still hadn't shown up. Her heart sinks. She was stood up. Izuku has never done this before. He would never just leave her, especially 2 days after. Never mind. Ochako goes home and plasters on a smile. 2 days later, she returns, and again, he doesn't show. 4 days, and no Izuku. 6 days, nothing. 8, nothing. On the 10th day, she sits in the grass, playing with the straw hat that she had weaved for herself 3 years ago. Birds chirp, though the clouds are dark in the sky. It smells like it'll rain soon, but she doesn't care. Her legs are crossed. She's wearing stockings because it's been a bit chiller these days. Ochako. The woman in question jumps and looks to find Izuku, handsome as ever except. Izuku, what happened to your face? She asks, now alarmed. She stands and steps toward him with her hand raising to touch his bruised cheek, but his words stop her. Ochako, go home. Now. His tone is commanding, similar to her chief's tone. But she can hear the undertones of worry, or fear, rather. What? But, are you okay? Izuku pushes her hand away gently. Go home and don't come back here again. Please, Ochako, leave. Her eyes widen and sting. He's looking into her eyes so deeply that she almost gets lost in them. She doesn't dare make a move. After a few moments, Izuku glances back in the direction he came from and steps closer to her, grabbing her by the shoulder. His hands are big and his right hand is scarred. He said it involved the prince. He'd met him years ago, back when Izuku had just started studying with his current master, yet they touch her so delicately. As if she were a fine piece of chine. He looks apologetic. I'm so sorry, Ochako, my love. I messed up. You can't show your face here again or they'll surely come after you, and this field where we shared our love will become a battlefield of blood and flames. Izuku, what happened? What did you do? His mouth moves but no words come out. It takes him a few seconds to process his sentence. I'm afraid I trusted someone a bit too much. Well, my mother, she asked why I've been so happy and she knew I was seeing someone. I only told her her suspicions were correct and nothing more. But she followed me when I was coming to see you 12 days ago. She told my father. And, well, as you can see, he wasn't too pleased. She places a shaky hand on his cheek despite his earlier declinations. He easily melts into her touch, hands sliding down to her biceps. He looks absolutely destroyed, but Ochako still thinks he looks beautiful. Her hand becomes wet with his tears, but she sees in his eyes that his decision is final. I love you, Ochako. So much. And I wished to one day escape this wretched reality with you and have you as my bride. Alas, it seems the gods didn't want that for us. His words break her heart. In a desperate attempt to change his mind, Ochako spouts, if we go now, they won't be able to stop us. What if we escape now? Izuku looks visibly shocked, now. As in, this very moment. Yes, now right now. Ochako watches him think about it. His expression lightens a fraction as if he liked the idea. But he dilates a moment later. I snuck out to get here. They're sure to have already noticed. I was on a sort of house arrest. They'll catch us before morning. He has a point, Ochako ponders. Then, what if we meet again on the far west side of the field in 5 days' time, one day before our every other day schedule? We collect the things we need, and you plan to take us where we'll live freely together. Izuku blinks. He supposes that's a good idea, but with the way his father's been these past few days and his studies, no, it doesn't matter. This is for Izuku to be with Ochako. Yes, I think we can do that, Izuku nods. Then he remembers something, reaching into his pocket. Ah, here. I was to bring this to you earlier, he tells her. He pulls out a golden chain with a gold locket hanging from it. Ochako almost feels her heart physically swell at the sight of the gift. My mother had my picture taken a while ago. But 4 days ago was the same day we first met a year ago. So, I wanted to give this to you so I'd be close to your heart even when I'm not with you. She's flattered by that and takes the locket to admire it before he assists her to put it on. She opens the small door and finds a picture of Izuku on the left side of the inside. Ochako smiles. You're very handsome, Izuku. Thank you. It's lovely. Even after all this time, her compliments still fluster him. Before he can say anything, Ochako says, I actually have something for you, too. But you can't open it until you're alone, okay? The woman hands him the letter she's been carrying around since she wrote it. The man takes it. A sense of pride fills his soul, after reading the cover of the letter. To my beloved Izuku, from your love Ochako. Her handwriting is sloppy, but he adores it nonetheless. Thank you, Ochako. I love it. I love you. They smile at each other. It's almost too clear to them that their smiles are sad. Izuku puts the letter in his locket and leans forward, pressing a kiss to her lips. She returns it and they part. I'll see you in 5 days. Ochako nods. 5 days. They remain close for a bit longer before Izuku sends her off. He watches her depart, making sure no one suddenly follows her home. Izuku gets home later in the day, having to run halfway back because it started pouring rain. He's still wet, with his socks soggy and his shoes and hair sticking to his forehead. He hopes Ochako got home okay. Inko is sitting in the dining area, a steaming cup of tea before her. Izuku tries to ignore her, heading to the stairs to lock himself in his room. But the older woman doesn't seem to appreciate his efforts. Where have you been, Izuku? Out. Izuku's relationship with his mother became significantly strained. He doesn't trust her anymore and is rightfully upset that she went and ratted him out to Hisashi, then allowed the larger man to beat him and throw him out of the house for 2 days. Izuku had to stay at Katsuki's house until Inko came looking for him. He makes it to the stairs but she speaks again. What is that? Izuku shrugs without looking at her. That paper in your pocket. What is it? He freezes with a foot on the first step. He hears a pair of heavy footsteps appear from the kitchen. He doesn't turn around because he already knows it's Hisashi, his father. Is it male? Let me see it, son. Izuku feels sweat bud on his forehead and he stares at the wooden steps ahead of him. Ever slowly, he looks at his father from over his shoulder. No. It's something personal. He's met with silence. He gulps. I just would rather keep it to myself. His father's tone is dangerous when he says, you lost that privilege the day you started seeing that whore from the other village. Izuku snaps his eyes to meet his father's dark brown eyes, his own pupils narrowed. What? Hisashi asks, daring Izuku to say a word. Got something to say. Don't talk about her. At all, Izuku warns darkly. Oh, is say equals he not a whore? She did sleep with you out of wedlock, no. That's just an assumption you made. You think I'm stupid, son? The word is said with such venom. Izuku doesn't even feel like his son, blood related or not. I know what that bruise you had on your neck means. Izuku hesitates. You act like she was the only one involved. Well, it's a man's privilege to be with women. A woman should only be with her husband. That's gotta be the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard come from anyone's mouth. He rolls his eyes with a scoff. Just stop talking about her. She's not a bad person. She's from that damned village. How could she possibly be any good? Give me that paper, now. No. Izuku and Hisashi stare each other down. The younger of the two genuinely don't know who's going to win this one, but this time, he knows he isn't going down without a fight. When Hisashi got angry with him last time, Izuku allowed the beating as means to make his parents believe he wouldn't see Ochako again. Hisashi suddenly shakes his head and clears his throat. You really are an ungrateful brat, aren't you? Your mother and I gave you everything. A home, clothes, food, schooling, and this is how you pay us back. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know being a decent parent was something you did just out of the kindness of your heart. Don't sass me, boy, I am your father. Like I give a fuck. Izuku shouts. Izuku. His mother's warning voice cuts through their argument like a knife. There's a pause, but the tenseness remains. Then, no number, let him. I want to hear what he has to say. I already told you what I had to say. You were never a father to me. All you ever did was talk about how I meant nothing to you and how I was a disgrace to our family. Yeah, and you think being with a slut from that village makes you a saint. Izuku suddenly lunges at Hisashi, grabbing the man's collar and shoving him violently against the wall of the hallway. I fucking told you not to talk about her, he yells in his father's face. Now furious, Hisashi regains his balance and stands tall against his son, who he suddenly realizes isn't so small anymore. Over the years, as Izuku worked rigorous jobs to keep up with bills and such, he gained muscle mass. He's lean but built, broad shoulders, large biceps. And he's much, much taller. He's maybe only a centimeter or two shorter than Hisashi. The two of them get dangerously close to each other and Inko tries to defuse the situation by putting a hand on Izuku's shoulder and trying to pull him off her husband. He ignores her entirely. You shoved me. You're lucky I didn't punch all that stupidity out of you. Hisashi scoffs. Look at that. You meet a girl and you suddenly think you're the shit, Izuku. I don't think I'm anything. I'm simply protecting my girlfriend. Is that too much for her pea-brain to understand, Dad? Izuku tilts his head, maybe looking a little crazy in the eyes. Hisashi pushes off the wall and steps forward. Izuku chooses to take a step back because otherwise, their noses would have touched. You and that bitch are perfect for each other. You're both good for nothings. In a deep and quiet voice, Izuku replies, I'm so glad you drew that conclusion. Now there's no damn reason for you to bitch about it if you believe I'm on equal footing with her anyway. Harshly, Hisashi pushes Izuku's hands off of him. No, no, boy. I've got a reputation to uphold and you're not gonna ruin that for me. The man grabs Izuku by the collar of his shirt, twisting the fabric in his fist, and drags him closer. You are never, ever to see that girl again. You aren't to talk about her, or even think about her. You can't fucking stop me. Izuku doesn't react quick enough when his father snatches the paper from his pocket with his free hand. The younger tries to reach for it, now panicked, but it ends up in the small, dainty hands of his mother. Hey, give it. Inko, read it. Izuku's wide green eyes meet his mother's darker ones, filled with newfound fear. Mom, no. That's personal. Shut up. Read it, woman. Hisashi snaps, shaking Izuku slightly. The boy struggles against his father, as Inko opens the letter with shaky hands. It's from the girl, Ochako. His heart drops to his feet at the sound of her name. He was trying to conceal the letter specifically to keep her name unknown to them. Hisashi could report her to their chiefs, and the chiefs to the other villages' chiefs. She could be executed for this. Mom, he begs, Mom, please. Please don't. Inko glances up at him, then looks to her husband. Well, go on, read it. She gulps and opens the paper that was folded 3 ways. My dear Izuku. Mom, stop. Gods, please. I was lost, for years until I met you. I didn't know what life really was. I didn't know what love was, outside of familial relations. But you, my Izuku, showed me both. My eyes opened to this new and wonderful world. Though we remained tethered to that wonderful field, our love still blossomed like the very flowers I made a crown out of all those moons ago. I was nervous about writing you this letter, but I know you'll be happy no matter how messy. I hope to one day marry you and spend the rest of our lives together. I love you, Izuku. Thank you for sharing your love in every form with me, with much affection, Ochako. His knees suddenly feel weak, and not from her sweet words. No, from the sheer fear of the very man holding him by his shirt. Not fear of the fight that's sure to erupt any second, but fear of what he will do to Ochako. Izuku keeps his eyes trained on his mother. He growls, you're a liar. Inko blinks at Izuku, shocked. You lied to me, his voice cracks, and tears start to form in his eyes. You said this would be between us and you lied. You went and did the worst thing imaginable. Hisashi tries to shut him up by shoving him towards the stairs. Izuku stumbles but doesn't stop looking at her. I trusted you. You're my mom. You were supposed to protect me. Shut up, damn it. Shut. He's gonna get Ochako killed because of you. Inko watches Hisashi force Izuku up the stairs as he continues yelling at her. Does that not mean anything to you? This is no one's fault but your own. I hate you, Mom, I fucking hate you, is the last thing she hears before his door is slammed closed and silence envelopes the house. It's then does Inko slap her hand over her mouth, realizing what she did. Oh, gods. Katsuki's in bed when it happens. In bed, doing nothing but sinning. Under the eyes of the law, what he's doing would get him hung without so much as a trial. Doing what, exactly? Well, nothing, really. Just lying in bed beside his boyfriend. Those last two words are two that, in their society, should never be said together. It's a crime as much as it is a sin. But, Katsuki can't care enough to not indulge in this forbidden relationship. He loves Eijiro, plain and simple. No one is going to tell him if it's right or wrong. Even if it costs him his life. His boyfriend, with obnoxiously bright red hair, snores quite loudly, but that isn't what keeps him awake. No, he heard. He heard about Izuku's situation today. 5 days ago, apparently, he was caught with a woman from their enemy village and there's proof of it. He's not been arrested yet, but Katsuki's sure it could happen any minute now. Even though it's so late at night. Katsuki sighs, rolling on his side to look at Eijiro. His mouth is wide open, drool dripping onto the pillow. Disgusting, but whatever. Seeing Eijiro's face calms him down. Except, his anxiety is too spiked for even this. Even with a trial, Izuku will likely be exiled or executed. Being exiled doesn't sound so bad once a person looks at the whole situation. Katsuki clicks his tongue and sits up. This is ridiculous. He hears a loud knock on the back door. 2 knocks, a pause, then one more. Deku. The blonde jumps out of bed, glad he's wearing pants, and rushes downstairs. He hears Eijiro stir from his sleep at the loudness of Katsuki running around the house. He gets to the door, swings it open, grabs something, and drags Izuku in before slamming it. Deku, he shouts. Kachan. Izuku shouts back. Katsuki shoves him further into the house, making sure all the blinds are pulled shut. Gods, you're such a fucking moron. You trying to get me caught, too. Katsuki whisper yells, though he doesn't mean it. Izuku's only way out is through Katsuki. I'm sorry, Kachan, really. I didn't want to get you dragged into this, but Midoriya, shut up. Fuck. Hey, Kirishima. Ignore him, Deku. Get on with it. But I wanted to say goodbye. World stop. Katsuki's blazing red eyes almost provide light in the darkroom. Izuku sighs, stepping back. What? Katsuki asks, genuinely surprised. Midoriya, where are you going? Eijiro asks, lighting one of the lamps. Izuku looks between them both and sighs. I only got lucky I wasn't locked up earlier, he tells them. I'm leaving. For good. I've already committed this crime and there's no going back, no matter what. And I just can't bear the thought of living without, you know. The other two men stay quiet. Katsuki, mostly, because his heart is breaking. Their relationship wasn't good for years. Katsuki was horrible to Izuku. But, in their teens, life hit them both where it hurt and they were forced to finally see each other and grow past their differences. And, well, they're like brothers now. Brothers aren't meant to be apart, right? Eijiro speaks first. Should I leave you two alone? I think I won't be here by the time you return, so, oh, okay. Izuku's startled by Kirishima's sudden hug. Love you too, Kirishima. Take care of Kachan for me, okay? Yeah, dude, don't worry. Stay safe. Once he leaves, silence falls again. Izuku glances at the covered windows, then back at Katsuki. Kachan, you're really all I have left here anymore. My mom, she completely betrayed me, and you know my dad. My masters both will uphold the law. No matter who I am, you're the only one that understands me. Katsuki's eyes are wide, mouth agape. So, I came here before leaving for good. I wanted to say goodbye to you. I couldn't go without it. Katsuki takes a step forward. Brothers shouldn't be apart. Then another. But, well, they shouldn't stop each other from finding their happiness. Izuku and Katsuki find each other in a tight embrace. Gods, Deku, you really are a moron, Katsuki says, though it's muffled by Izuku's shoulder. Izuku nods. You're not alone. I'm on your side here. So don't think I hate you or some shit. Thank you, Kachan, for everything. For trusting me with your life. Thanks for not snitching, and they both chuckle. Hey, don't do anything stupider than this. And, maybe send me a letter when you are safe and happy. Izuku smiles at that, swallowing the lump in his throat. I'll be sure to do that. They step away from each other and Izuku watches Katsuki wipe away his tears with the back of his arm, but Izuku doesn't bother with his own. They smile. Love you, nerd. Take care. And, don't go beating up any more princes just to become friends with them. Izuku laughs, shaking his head. He starts to back away, back towards the door. Love you too, Kachan. Maybe one day, I'll hold you to that. So no sappy goodbyes. Just, I'll see you later. Yeah, see you later. Once the door clicks shut, Katsuki's smile falls. Ochako bites her nail anxiously, eyes darting in every direction. She left a sloppy letter behind for her parents, thanking them for everything, and she also explained everything to them. Their village already got word of what's happening, but her name hasn't been said yet. It's only a matter of time. She gave her mama and papa an extra tight hug before bed last night and cried the whole way through the night and on her walk here. But she stopped a while ago, just so she can be on alert. Ochako, she hears. She whirls around and finds Izuku jogging toward her. Ochako offers a faint smile, but he doesn't return it. Instead, he grabs her by the shoulders and drags her in for a hug. Good, you're okay. I was worried news would have already spread. It did. They just don't know it's about me, yet. She noticed a while ago that he says that a lot, and even picked up on it herself. It's cute, in a way. Let's go, before an arrow flies right past Izuku's head. His eyes widen and his jaw drops. There's no way, he whispers. Ochako's at a loss for words, but she pulls Izuku's shirt to urge him to run. Before they can, Deku. Izuku whips around and sees Katsuki in the distance, struggling through the grass. His hands ball into fists and his mind starts running, but he sees Katsuki's hand gestures. He's waving at him to go. He's screaming something. Deku, run. Shit, Ochako, run. Go, now. And she does. But not before another arrow, this time it is on fire, stabs the ground right beside his feet. That's their village's signature weapon. How did they find us? She yells, picking up her skirt. Izuku ensures she's in front of him. They were probably waiting for us, Izuku answers, they knew the whole time. Another flaming arrow narrowly misses Izuku's head, but he doesn't stop to dwell on it. The gap between the field and the trees is larger here than it is on the other side, so they have targets on their backs. Izuku wonders for a fleeting moment why Katsuki didn't warn him earlier. But they knew Katsuki would have told Izuku, so they didn't even bother to let him know about this. They're smart like that. He must have realized it too late and tried to chase after him. Flaming arrows start raining down on them like a stormy day in April. It's almost poetic. Izuku watches arrows bury themselves in the grass. The flowers he used to admire, study, put in Ochako's hair, look like they wave goodbye to them. The heat from the flaming arrows makes them sway wildly. It's no longer a controlled and graceful dance with the warm huffs of air that Mother Nature blew into the field. The flowers swing from side to side, their petals grabbing hold of the flowers from hell. They shake their heads no, but the fires consume them until they're ash. His stomach twists at the smell of the harsh red flowers destroying the delicate ones. But he looks back ahead, pushing Ochako forward. He yells at her to keep running straight ahead. Don't stop, keep running. Don't look back, he shouts, trying to listen out for the soldiers that are sure to be pursuing them. It's odd how two people loving each other resulted in such a disturbing conflict. What's so wrong with it? Because of some disagreement that happened over a century ago. All these resources and men could go to fight for more noble causes, like defending their ports from thieves and spies. But no, they turned their weapons on children of their own. All because Izuku and Ochako saw past the lies and chose to be different from their people. To be genuine. To enjoy being loved. The whole thing is sick and twisted. Right at that moment, Izuku finally realizes something. His and Ochako's field is burning, the beauty of it being carried away by the wind in the form of dark, unbreathable smoke when in reality, it should have been those damned villages that burned to the ground. The shouting of soldiers nears. Reality suddenly surges back to Izuku. He blinks, his eyes on Ochako's back as they weave through the trees. He hadn't even noticed they reached the forest. He knows the attacks won't stop, but at the very least, they won't be on fire because that would risk a forest fire. That fire would drive out any game and reach their village. The chief's mansion of a hut sits right on the edge of the forest, so even a lick of fire would set the whole. Izuku looks in the direction of their village. They're too far to see any light, but he looks back at Ochako. His running slows to a jog. His heart is thumping painfully in his chest and his lungs are burning. His hands are shaking and sweating violently. Izuku! Ochako shouts, having stooped once she realized he wasn't following closely anymore. Izuku looks back at her, then to the village. If Izuku, they're right behind us. We have to keep going. He glances behind him. By his calculation, they have about 15 seconds to start running before the chances of escape get sliced in half. Less than half, actually. That's enough time. He steps forward and grabs her by the arm. It's urgent but not even close to hurting her. Izuku lets go when she's close and starts taking off his bag. Ochako, listen to me, you keep running straight. Don't look back. There's someone waiting on the other side. He has 2 different colored eyes and hair. You can trust him. What? He forces her to take the bag, digging through one of the pockets for his box of matches. I'll meet you there, I just have to do something first. No, she almost screams. No, you're coming with me or I'm going with you. No, you are not, you're going to meet them. I'm not leaving you. You have to. Izuku snaps, his pupils dilated small, pushing her away from him. Don't follow me, please. He doesn't wait for her response before speeding away from her toward his village. He can hear her screaming his name, but he doesn't look back. His thighs feel like they're hot enough to start a fire on their own. His stamina is good, and thanks to the adrenaline, he can keep going despite it all. As he runs, he sweeps up a tree branch that had snapped in half and tucks it under his underarm. Izuku starts yelling at the top of his lungs to draw the soldiers' attention, and thankfully it does. He sees their fires illuminating their way and starts to follow in his direction. Good. The village is far, but not too far. He can make it okay. Okay. He can do this. Izuku can faintly hear dogs barking. They've probably been let loose. Fuck. He ducks his head as he runs, in hopes of gaining more speed. It does little, but little is still something. Every inch of his body screams. Especially his leg, as an arrow flies right at him. Its sharp tip drives right through his calf. He yelps loudly, falling to the ground of dried leaves and short grass barely poking through the soil. Fuck, he yells, looking at his right leg. No, 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 he isn't going to stop now, no. This is for her, for Ochako. With an animalistic scream, his searing tears mingle on his chin with his saliva and sweat. He grabs hold of the arrow and tears it right out of his limb. Blood instantly gushes out, but he ignores it, dragging himself to his feet. It's sure to slow him down, but that doesn't matter. He needs to get as close to that hut as possible. He starts with a limp but pushes through it, forcing his body to move as fast as humanly possible. The dogs and soldiers are closer, but that's fine. He can see the lights from the hut. The man pulls out the matches and lights 3 at once and holds them to the end of the frayed wood. It lights in no time. Damn it, damn it, damn it. He mentally apologizes to his masters, Yagi especially. But it has to be done. He can't light another village aflame, but he can his own. The hatred born out of shame and lies won't go away until one or both villages go. That hatred does nothing but destroy. All this shit over something that really is nothing. The kitchen lights are on, smoke is floating up into the atmosphere from the chimney. Someone's cooking. The cooks oftentimes have to start early to feed all the house personnel and many of the guards. Izuku breathes in a heavy breath of air and dashes around the house. I'm so sorry, Chief Yagi. May this village burn with its memory and may the gods build a new one that loves instead of hate. With that final prayer, Izuku reels his arm back. It's like the world suddenly slows as that flaming branch flies into the open window with perfect precision, going exactly where he wanted it to go. A turned-on gas stove that happened to be connected to 4 others, as well as the gas tank near the wall. There are 6 others in the house alone. Even as the tanks blow a second later, everything still feels slow. Even as the heat of it all blows Izuku off his feet, wood and sharp glass find a home in the softness of his flesh, as the heatwave alone burns his skin, followed by the flames themselves kissing him as if they were Satan themselves. The world still feels like it stopped just to watch him burn. Izuku's emerald eyes stare up through the ablaze trees at the sky. The sun started to rise, but he can't tell because of the black clouds that shield his view from the blue of it. His whole body feels numb. He thinks he's still breathing if his consciousness is anything to go by. He feels that fading, though. It's odd. An angry fire rages all around him, but he feels so calm. He hopes Ochako will forgive him. He lied to her. Not on purpose, though. He thought he'd make it back. But his own body decided to protect future generations from the same hell he and Ochako are facing. He blinks slowly, ignoring the black spots dancing in his vision. Izuku imagines Ochako's face. Her radiant smile. So beautiful. His heart thuds slowly in his chest and his lungs struggle to filter in oxygen. It's okay. He knows that Ochako loved him for the rest of his life. As long as she lives. Something drops onto his cheek as if it had been raining. Raining. Rain sounds nice. Except, it's coming from Ochako's eyes. Despite himself, Izuku smiles. You're so stubborn. You dummy, she cries, pulling his head into her lap as her hands cradle his cheeks. She's upside down to him right now, told you to run. And I told you I wouldn't be leaving you behind, she counters. Gods, Izuku, what were you thinking? Her voice breaks with her sobs. Izuku's smile falls weak and his eyes struggle to stay open. About you. Now's not the time for your sweet talking, Ochako scolds. You burned your hair all up, you're gonna have to grow it out again. Does it look bad? She shakes her head, leaning down to touch their noses. No, it doesn't. You're as handsome as the day we met. Izuku doesn't say anything. It feels like someone's choking him. Izuku, I love you. I love you so much. So much it hurts. He could say the same thing. Because, literally, the burning of his body now is proof of that love for her. He did it for her. He nods because he isn't capable of saying anything. He's too tired, too weak. His eyes flitter around the area. Izuku finds no way to escape. Wait. No, Ochako catches his urgent gaze. His lips move but he can't speak. She knows what he's trying to tell her, so she smiles sadly at him. I said I wouldn't leave you behind. She caresses his cheek, though it's disturbingly rough to touch. I don't want to live without you, Izuku. I want you to live, he wants to say. Your friends Shoto and Tenya found me and tried to stop me but they couldn't. They offered to look for you but we all heard the explosion, Ochako tells him, and right there, I decided I wanted to go with you. I want us to be together forever. But I want you to keep living for the both of us to find happiness. To move on and fall in love with someone else, no matter how much the thought of that hurts me. She kisses his lips, watching the life fade from his eyes. I know, Izuku. I'm sorry, but I can't let you die here alone. If he could, Izuku would cry. Probably wail like an infant. But all he can do is drift off with the last thing to bless his eyes being the smile of the woman he loves most, prepared to die unnecessarily by his side. If he knew it'd end like this, he would have never blown up the mansion. Shoto sighs, looking at the charred village. A lot of lives were lost, but more survived because the winds were low so the fire didn't spread as quickly. Despite that, they couldn't stop it from eating away the village. The prince glances over his shoulder at the families waiting, the back to see the smoke of the still burning field. It was bound to happen, but I didn't expect this, Tenya, his second in command, says beside Shoto. Father should have let me handle this shit myself. He let their stupid century-old war fester until it literally exploded, Shoto grumbles, stressed and frustrated. When he received that letter from Izuku, asking for his help, Shoto organized a secret group of his best men to come out and help. But because of his situation back at home, he couldn't intervene. Shoto wanted to do something, and he realizes too late that he should have gone against his father's orders. All this destruction because kids fell in love. What could you have done? I could have set these villages on fire myself. It's an empty threat, they both know. Shoto would never have done something so horrid. Tenya nods. Well, General Yaoyorozu will be arriving soon. Not my father. You know him. Shoto grinds his teeth together, glaring at the sight of the explosion. It's a never-ending cycle of war and hate. Shoto supposes the only way to get rid of that is with love. While Shoto believes what Izuku chose to do was utterly wrong, he understands it. They were in a dire situation and Izuku saw how nothing would have changed had he not destroyed it completely. The prince spots Katsuki in the distance, sitting in some grass, staring at the place that was his home. Beside him are his parents and best friend. Shoto knows them through Izuku. He chooses not to offer any condolences until later. They need to mourn on their own. Then his dual-colored eyes find the woman that he knows is Izuku's mother on her knees, still wailing over the loss of her son. In the letter, Izuku said his mother betrayed him. Should we give it to her now? Tenya asks. Shoto thinks, then nods. Izuku asked a favor. At the bottom of the letter, he said, if anything happens, give her this. I want my mother to know that while it hurts me, I forgive her. I still love her dearly. That's all. Shoto clicks his tongue, turning away to his soldiers. I'm sick of all this hate. What happened here is nothing less of a tragedy. Shoto wishes it didn't have to end like this. But it's always the most tragic, sickening, gut-wrenching events that kickstart a real change in the world. Katsuki stares down at the chrysanthemum that sways gently, like a mother lulling her baby to sleep. Its white and yellow petals stand out greatly, considering the horror the village saw. He doesn't know how it survived. He lowers his head and closes his eyes. Izuku and Ochako's bodies weren't found. There's nothing left of them. But Katsuki tethers them to that flower that stood tall and beautiful through it all. Dash 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 dot. Note. Meaning of flowers. Red tulip. I declare my love. Chrysanthemum. Goodbye. Where stories live. Discover now.